As you can see on the screen, we're starting on the main build page inside Biela.dev. Here you can see two main options, a build button and a plan button. If you already know what you want to create, you can start right here by typing your prompt into the input field. This is where you describe your project in as much detail as possible. If you're not completely sure yet, you can click on plan. For this walkthrough, as you can see on the screen, we're planning to build a simple website for a coffee shop. So in the prompt field, you can see that we're typing something like create a web page for my coffee shop. Just below the prompt, you can see the model selector. Here, you will choose which AI model Biela.dev will use for this project. In this example, you can see that we've selected Claude Sonnet, but you can choose any supported model depending on your needs. On the screen, you can also see the attach file option. If you already have content such as a PDF, a menu, or brand guideline document, you can also attach that here. Biela will then use that file as extra context while building your project. Instead of typing, you can also see the input voice as an option. If you prefer speaking your prompt, you can click that and describe your idea by voice. Below that, you can see a few example prompts. These are just there to help you quickly understand what kind of input works well with Biela. You can adapt one of these examples or write your own from scratch. At the bottom, you can see the enhanced prompt option. When we enable this, Biela takes our initial context and automatically expands it into more detailed and optimized prompts. This is helpful if you have a rough idea but want the AI to refine and structure it into something more precise before you start building. Let's walk you through the dashboard quickly. From here, you can create a new project, import one from various coding platforms such as Lovable or Bolt, connect your GitHub repositories under Developer Tools, and check out the components and tutorials in the Resources section. In this section, you can see the projects that have been transferred to you by other users. Your projects are organized in folders. You can search for any project. Once you find the project you want to work on, you can click on the Live app to preview the project. You can also preview a quick screenshot of the project, and you can also edit the project name. On the right-hand side, you have options to open the project to work on it, download the project files, export the chat history, duplicate, delete, or share it with other users and change the folder that the project is in. Now, as you can see on the screen, we send this prompt to Biela.dev so it can begin reasoning and planning this project. Before we move deeper into the build, look at the Control Center section on the screen. Here you can see three important toggles. First, RAG mode. When this is turned on, Biela uses Retrieval Augmented Generation. That means instead of sending your entire project to the model, it only sends the specific files and pieces of information that are relevant for the current request. This keeps the context clean, efficient, and more accurate. Second of all, web search. With web search enabled, Biela is allowed to look up additional information on the internet when it needs more data or examples. As you can see, the toggle is switched on here, so the model can fetch up-to-date content where it is necessary. And third of all, there's AI diff mode. And this is very important. When AI diff mode is enabled, Biela will only modify the specific lines in a file that need to be changed instead of rewriting the entire file. As you can see on the screen, this is active, which makes changes safer and easier to track. These are all turned on right now, and you can see their status clearly in the control center. Inside a project, you can select your AI model. We're using Opus for its advanced capabilities. You can attach files, use your voice input in the chat box, select the language for the voice input, enhance your prompts with AI. You can also clean up the project button so that the AI can structure the project in a clean way. You can use our agentic live assistant mode to build with Biela using your voice. Live assistant has two modes: Builder for full project development, or Thinker for strategic planning with fewer resources. The live assistant feature works by clicking the headset and start talking to the agentic AI to help you with your project. Now look back at the main panel where Biela has started asking follow-up questions about our coffee shop website. On the screen, you can see a question like, what's the main purpose of this website? Here we're going to type something like, I just want to show the menu and a few pictures. Then you can see another question on the screen. What kind of hero section would you like? Biela is offering a few predefined hero section ideas. We can then choose one of those options that we like, as you can see being selected on the screen. And at this point, Biela could keep asking you more questions to refine the plan further. If we continue chatting, the plan will become more detailed and complex, which is great if you want very fine control of your website. But for this demo, we'll stop here and click build so we can see things in action. Now, as you can see on the screen, Biela is starting to reason and then build the project. You can see the log area where it shows the reasoning steps it took and the results of those steps. Below, you can see the terminal-like output where it's installing packages, creating files, and setting up the project for us. This is essentially the same process that would run if you clicked create a project button manually, but Biela is handling everything automatically. On the screen, you can also see start preview. If for some reason Biela.dev does not start the preview automatically, you can also click on this manually. But in most cases, Biela.dev will do it on its own. As you watch the log, you can see creating the sections that will appear on the website, the hero section, the menu section, and any other components needed for our coffee shop website. We'll fast forward until the build process finishes. Now, as you can see on the screen, our first version of the website is ready. At the top, you can see navigation menu, a hero section, some images, and a bit of text describing the coffee shop. Let's quickly check how responsive the website is. On the screen, you can see that we can switch between different device views. We can see first the mobile view to see how the content stacks on the phone, and then we can see the tablet view to see how it looks on a medium-sized screen, and finally a desktop view where we can expand or shrink the width to test different browser sizes. Biela sets this up in a way that adapts to different devices so you can verify everything is readable and styled correctly. Now look at the menu section tile on the screen. Let's say we don't like the current title and we want to simply say our menu. As we can see, we select the text directly on the preview and edit it. We don't need to specify where in the code this text lives. Because of the way Biela is integrated, it knows exactly which file and which line contains this text. When we confirm the change, you can see in the code view that only a single line has been updated. Now, if you look back at the preview, you can see that the title has changed to menu. Next, let's connect this menu to a database so it's easier to update items and prices later without editing the code. On the screen, follow the cursor to the Connect Database option. We chose to create a new Supabase database from here. When we click that, you can see Biela asking us for authorization and to confirm the organization we want to use. On the screen, you can see that we authorize Biela to connect to our Supabase account. Biela now sets up the database configuration all for us. You can see a short loading process while it creates what we need on the backend. Once that's all done, you can see a confirmation on the screen that the database connection is now active. Now that the connection is ready, we want to send all of our menu items to the database. On the screen, you can see us type a request like, I want to send all the menu items to the database. This tells Biela to create the necessary tables and migrations so all items, prices, and descriptions are stored in the Supabase instead of it being hard-coded into this project. This is useful because in the future, if you want to change a price or add a new item, you can do it directly in the database without touching the website's code. As you can see on the screen, Biela starts creating a migration file for the menu. Now let's quickly verify that our menu has been correctly stored in the database. On the screen, you can see that we switch over to the Supabase dashboard. Inside Supabase, we open the project from our coffee shop and we go to the tables section. As you can see, there is a table containing our menu items. Each row represents coffee or menu item, and each column holds information like the name, description, and price. Once we've confirmed that everything is there, we switch back to Biela. Let me show you how to generate custom images and videos in Biela. Let's start with an image. This home section looks a bit dull, so let's replace it. I'll go to Content Studio, open AI Media Studio, and I'm selecting 16:9 aspect ratio because it's relevant to my home section. I will enter my prompt, which is to generate an ultra-realistic image with an aesthetic background of coffee cup and coffee beans surrounded by it. Great, I like this one. So I'm going to save it to the library. I will upload, I'll select the image and click Use in Project. Now I'll tell Biela to replace the home section image and use the image provided. Perfect. Now that the image is in place, let's change the About section into a video. Go back to Content Studio, AI Media Studio, and switch to videos. My prompt is to generate a coffee cup with animated horse running on the coffee cup. Excellent. Select Save to Library, then select Upload. Then select the video, and you can use it in the project. Since this goes in the About section, I'll tell Biela to place it there with the video selected. And done! That's how you generate and place custom media in Biela.dev. If at any point you don't like the change, Biela provides a history or a rollback feature. On the screen, you can see the history panel where each change is listed. If you decide you preferred the previous hero image, for example, you can click rollback on the corresponding change. Biela will revert the project to the state before that edit. And in this demo, you can see us triggering a rollback and then refreshing the preview. On the screen, you can see the roadmap view. The idea of the roadmap is to break your bigger plan into smaller, more manageable tasks. Instead of asking AI to do everything in one huge step, you can split the work into logical stages or mini tasks. This makes it easier for Biela to handle complex projects and for you to keep track of what's been done and what's left. You can see that each item in the roadmap represents a specific change of feature, making the whole build process more structured. Now let's open the settings panel. As you can see on the screen, the settings section contains several tabs. First, we have project information. Here you can see basic details about your project. You can download the project code, you can duplicate the project, which creates a copy in your Biela dashboard. You can also share the project with another Biela user by typing their username or email and sending them access. You can also control the visibility of the project here. You can switch between public, private, or other visibility modes depending on how you want to share or protect the project. Next, there is the database section. As you can see, this confirms that our project is already connected to Supabase, just like we set it up earlier. Then we have the domain section. If you already own a domain name, you can click Add Domain, type your domain, and connect it directly to this project. Biela will guide you through the basic steps to point your domain to the deployed site. As you can see, I'm adding my custom domain name, cafearoma.com, where it will verify ownership of the domain name. Keep in mind, you would need to purchase a custom domain at this point. Now look at the knowledge section. This is where we can give Biela more detailed instructions about how it should behave and how it should code. Here you can add guidelines about your brand or project. You can reduce hallucinations by providing real reference material. You can define code standards such as preferred frameworks, formatting styles, or architectural patterns. By setting these rules and standards, you help Biela produce code that is consistent with your preferences. Finally, you can see the GitHub integration. From here, you can connect your project to a GitHub repository so your code changes can be tracked, versioned, and collaborated on using standard Git workflows. Now, let's go back to the preview and deploy the site. As you can see on the screen, there is a deploy button. Then we can click it and Biela starts the deployment process. You can see on the status messages as it prepares the build, uploads the files, and places the site online. This magic step is where the project leaves the deployment environment and becomes a live website on the internet. After deployment completes, you can see a live URL appear on the screen. When we open that URL, you can see the coffee shop website is live. You can see the hero section with our AI-generated image from Nano Banana. You can see the navigation and content. You can see the menu connected to the database, all running online and ready to be shared. So as you've just seen on the screen, we went from a simple idea to a fully functioning deployed website with a generated layout and design, editable content, a connected Supabase database for the menu, custom AI-generated images from Nano Banana, history and rollback controls, and a one-click deployment to a live URL. All of this was handled inside of Biela.dev with the AI guiding, building, and updating the project step by step. And this is how you can use Biela.dev to go from concept to production-ready website in just a few guided steps.